Hello. It must be 6 o'clock. It must be Wednesday. Wednesday with Dr. Wendy Walsh. Hi, everybody. Put your comments. Say hello. Let me know where you are. Instagram says, we're telling your followers that you're live. Okay. There's comedian Dwayne Gill. Hi, how are you? William Buffalo. Hi, how are you? Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, because I always like to, know where everybody is. Hello, Mike Tauber Studio, Annie Rose Purple, somebody in the OC, DGH, Jeff Julius, where are you? Creature Smith, these names, you guys, these names. Corn Metallica's over in San Antonio. Hello, hello. Lansing, Michigan. Wow. That is far, Dwayne. Phoenix. Hello, Jeff from Phoenix. Where else we got, you guys? Let me know where you are. Corona, California. Rodney. Hi, Rodney. How are you from Corona, California? You would be down on this camera. How are you? I've got a really interesting topic today I want to talk about. And then, hello, George. How are you? And then, you just watched me on 9 Network with David and Belinda. I'm going to do the segment again. So you're just going to see it again. That's all it is, because it's sort of an interesting topic that people don't think about, but evolutionary psychologists think about it at all. Where else? We got people from Sydney. Hello. From Palm Springs. Is it hot out there, Kelly? Is it hot in Palm Springs? What's it like in the desert right now? I bet it's hot. Another from Sydney, Granada Hills. Hello. It's like two extremes of the globe, right? Because I just did my live shot, for those who don't know, on 9 Network Australia. And KFI 640, yes, that's me. And so I do a segment a few times a month. And it's nighttime here, by the way, my Aussie friends, and it's your morning. It's probably around 10 a.m. for you, right? From DC, hello, Renee from DC. Hi, Julie from Boston. How are you? Jacksonville, Florida, Dr. Mia Wilson. Welcome, welcome, Mia or Maya. See, that's the problem. You just don't know how to pronounce everybody's name. Crazy Scott, how are you? Troxlux in Highland, California. Where else we got? Can't post more comments. Some destinations, learn more. Yeah. StreamYard. Okay, so let's get going. Keep going. Send me your hellos and where you're from, and I'll interrupt myself when I need to. But I want to talk about this topic I just talked to David and Belinda with on 9 Network Australia, their version of the Today Show, and it's backup mates. They called it micro cheating. Do you know what micro cheating is? Micro cheating is where you're not really cheating. You're not really flirting. You're not really breaking the rules, but you have these private messages with people on social media. You have a kind of emotional intimacy with these strangers. And you know it's micro cheating if you're looking at your phone and you laugh and your significant other says, "What's so funny?" And you say, "Nothing." It's micro cheating if you're still checking your dating apps and you're in a relationship. Surprisingly, one particular gender does that more than the other. I'll name no names. Hello, Carolyn from Tennessee. How are you? And so basically, the question posed by the anchors at 9 Network is it okay to micro cheat? And the answer is, evolutionary psychologists have always said that a really important human mating strategy is to make sure you have backup mates. Right? Because something could happen to your primary mate. Way back when we evolved, that was death, right? Death was often imminent. And so a good reproductive strategy is to think, well, something happened to my spouse. Who would I be kind of into? And so now that's kind of hardwired in us, even though we're not dying from death so much anymore. It's more often divorce. People still have this inclination to keep a backup mate around. Somebody they never cross the line with, they have very clear boundaries with, but in the little back of their mind, they're kind of like, if something happened to my mate, maybe that person will be interested in me. It might be somebody at your work. More often it takes place online with social media, etc. But if you're in a committed relationship and you do not have a backup mate, you're lying. Everybody does. Because it's just a thought in the back of our head. It's not action. We haven't done anything wrong. It's just sort of like, maybe I have a backup mate. I'd say most people have 3 or 4 backup mates in the back of their head. If something happened to my mate, who would you call, right? So the problem, though, is that it's a slippery slope from micro cheating, just innocuous chatting with a potential backup mate, to having a really bad day with your spouse and it turning into real life cheating because you've had a vulnerable moment, right? So that's the problem. Keeping too many backup mates or flirting with the boundaries of what a backup mate is means that at some point it could be a slippery slope into full-on infidelity. So is 9 too many? 9's a lot to keep track of. I will say that. Am I anybody's backup mate, by the way? Do you have that thought in the back of your head, even though you don't know me? Anybody? Okay, admit it. I know your wife's online too. You don't want to say that. Or your husband, whatever. Everybody's so fluid nowadays. There are no rules. Hi, Zachary Cap. How are you? Are you in Vegas? Is it hot there? Okay, so first of all, don't feel guilty if you have a backup mate, but keep your boundaries in check. And especially on days and weeks or right now when we're in COVID and relationships are a little bit hard. So be careful to not let those boundaries get out of hand, okay? It's okay to have a backup mate. It's not okay to cheat. Got that? Okay. And some people don't even have a real mate, let alone backup mates. Maybe they just have. Hello, Solange from South Lake Tahoe. How are you? Carol, where are you? I can't remember. I'm trying to keep track. By the way, I want to tell everybody, I have a regular, I just want to say a friend, because this person began as a social media follower. He's not a backup mate. I'll say that. Okay. I got to say that because his wife is probably here right now. He began as a social media follower of mine, I want to say 10 years ago, and has been very positive, very kind, not creepy, says things like, I love the relationship advice you gave. I was telling my wife about it and it's really helped our relationship. He's like really nice guy, right? So I follow him. I see his vacation pictures. I see his life with he and his wife. He's even done some kind work for me in the past, some graphic work. He's a graphic artist. And so Scott, you are, no. Oh, okay. I was just reading a long comment. So anyway, he's also, I noticed, has always been applauding how much I am very strictly socially distancing. I don't get together socially with pretty much anybody, just you guys. That's it. I have a triple bubble. I walk with my best friend who lives a block away, and I have outdoor dinner at an 8-person table with 2 people with another friend of mine. And those are the only 2 people I've seen in 4 months, like craziness, right? So I don't socialize. I'm going to not get this bug for sure. And he always applauds that because he said he and his wife are doing the same thing. They just took a vacation. You might remember, was it last week or the week before? He was talking about they were on their way to Duck. Duck is a little town on an island on the Barrier Coast off of North Carolina. And I said, make sure you go see the wild horses. So then he posts the pictures of the wild horses and whatever. Next thing you know, I see a post that he and his wife have COVID and he's in a hospital. He has the pneumonia version. So I talked to him today. His name is Brian Art. I private messaged him. And he hopefully is going to come on at least my live stream, but maybe my radio show when he finally gets better. The good news is he got off oxygen today. He's still in the hospital. He said people don't know how quickly this can take such a hard turn. So I think he's a great example of somebody who took every precaution possible. But you just don't know what jogger's running past you breathing hard, who's crowded in that aisle as you reach for the oatmeal in Trader Joe's. I mean, stuff can happen as you're just basically trying to survive. So my heart and thoughts go out to Brian Art and his wife, who also sent me a lovely message on Facebook. And she's still at home. She didn't need to be hospitalized, but she's trying to get better by herself. Hello from Bali, Indonesia. How are you? What time must it be there? I think we went through this before. I think it's like 8:30 in the morning, tomorrow morning. One of the things you said, okay, Soy's Bell on Instagram says, good to know men and women cannot be friends. Well, here's my point. David and Belinda on 9 Network asked me, can you be friends with your ex? All when Harry met Sally on me. And my answer is this: if you can, then you probably never had passion and intimacy in the first place, right? And so You know, you were kind of emotionally avoidant then, you're emotionally avoidant now. But in general, when you see your ex, you go back into that place in your brain. And it can be a slippery slope. Some people like to have sex with their ex, which is never safe sex, because the fact that they're an ex means that they're not being, you know what I'm saying, right? So do I think you can be friends with your exes? I am not an enemy to any of my exes, and I certainly reach out to them once every few years for something concrete and literal, like, hey, do you remember the name of the whatever, or so-and-so I just met needs a referral for whatever, right? I don't call to just go, how are you? Just thinking about you. I hope you're having a good birthday. No, I don't do that. But for something concrete and literal, I might check in from time to time. But someone said, yes, please answer. Get better soon, Brian. Answer what? I didn't see. I just see, yes, please answer. And so in general, though, when you get in touch with your ex, you're getting in touch with a piece of you at the time and who you were, right? Daniel says it depends who's the one who called off the relationship. Well, think of it this way. If a dude broke up with you, assuming you're a woman, well, you could be a dude, whatever. Okay, if the dude broke up with you, then you're feeling hurt, less than, longing. You might want to show them up to say you've got a better person now and all that kind of stuff. And so you have feelings around that breakup. If you were the one who broke up with them, you still have feelings around the relationship and the breakups. And sometimes those feelings bubble up to the surface, even the feelings of, now I remember why I wasn't with that person, right? So, hi, Deborah, how are you in PEI? How's Emily doing? I just got your message today. Send me an email. I need the details. I need to know how to reach out to her. Does she have like a phone number? This is my cousin in Prince Edward Island. And my favorite aunt, Emily. Well, my favorite aunt, of course, would be Deborah's mom, my godmother. But Sister Emily, as she's known. You ever had an aunt who's a nun? It means when you're growing up, you get sent to the convent, literally. And I had so much fun hanging out with those gals. We used to go berry picking. We used to make pies. You know, nuns have jobs. She was a pediatric intensive care nurse. Some are teachers. So yeah, Sister Emily fell and hurt her hip. Did she break her hip? This is not good. How old is she, Deborah? How old is Sister Emily now? Anyway, okay. So you guys have any questions for me? That's all I want to say about backup mates. Now I'm quitting and it's all on you and your questions. Named after my aunt who was a nun. Did you have an aunt? And by the way, I brought my tequila this week. So this is what this is. It's a little bit of Blanco tequila. It's a whole bunch of soda water. No mix, just soda water. And then, no sugar, I mean. And then I squeeze in some fresh lime and some mint because I grow the mint out in a little pot on my thing. And that's my COVID dinner time drink. And before I started this live stream, I took a small little rack of lamb and I made a sort of a dry rub. Well, it was a wet rub because it had rosemary, garlic, kosher salt, and lots of black pepper. And then I put it in olive oil and mushed it and made like a paste. And then I put it on my lamb, popped it in the oven at 400 degrees. And by the time this live stream is over, it will be done. I also have some potatoes boiling. Deborah, they're not PEI potatoes. I'm sorry. They're from Iowa or somewhere. And then I made a green salad. So as soon as I finished, I'm just going to have, no, seriously, this is so much better than wine, Jessie Dupree, because you don't get a headache. There's no sugar, right? So you wake up clear-headed. Also, call me crazy, but wine makes me sleepy and tequila wakes me up. I don't think it has caffeine in it or anything, but it makes me want to dance. We don't have music, do we? Okay, question from Julie. What if you suspect a guy talking to you is using you as a backup mate? Or when they do micro cheating, but not cheating, do you suggest we call them on it? Well, what you're talking about is, Julie, is clarification on relationship definition. And really the question is, when is it okay to get definition in a relationship? My feeling is that you should have definition in a relationship before you have sex. However, I know millennials do it in all kinds of backward orders. They start dating sometimes after they begin a sexual relationship. So that makes it even harder to try to figure out what the definition is of a relationship. So I would say that it's perfectly okay at any time to ask questions about somebody's feelings because you're growing intimacy. And what is intimacy? It's just sharing your feelings. And so Why not just say something like, hey, I've been seeing you or talking to you for a few weeks or a few months. I'm liking you. I just kind of want to make sure we're on the same page. Are you seeing other people? And if you are, that's cool. I just need to know kind of where we stand so that I can operate my way. And I don't think there's anything wrong for asking for clarification or honesty, because in the end, you're going to find the person who goes, oh yeah, I'm totally into you too. You're my jam. And then it takes off from there, right? And if they say, well, I'm seeing a bunch of other people and I'm not really sure of you, well, that tells you not to invest all your eggs. Don't put all your eggs in that basket, especially those eggs, ladies. You know what I'm talking about. What if your man puts a fire emoji on a stripper? It post LOL. I think it's a joke, Lou, but I don't understand it. I'm learning how to use an Instapot. You are, Robert? I never got into the Instapot thing. I'm just an old-fashioned cook. I don't like a lot of extra tools. I don't even barely know how to use a microwave. Every once in a while, I'll give my coffee a little hit in the microwave because I just want to warm it up a little bit because I drank it too slow when I'm on my third cup. Are those questions, Sightseer says, are those questions advisable on a first or second date? No. Okay, so I do want to say, we all need to learn to contain ourselves a little bit, okay? We feel insecure. I remember one time I was on a date and literally I was in New York and I got in a cab. I'm in the cab for 2 minutes. Dude texts me and says, how did I do? Are we going to get together for a second date? I'm like, control yourself. Rein it in. Part of an early stage relationship is being able to tolerate the unknowing, right? Knowing like, I still like myself, even if they're not going to be so into me. And so I'm going to just have to tolerate not knowing for a little bit. Now, when I say tolerate not knowing, that means don't let your boundaries slip away. Don't be sharing deep, intimate details about your life with somebody who's not being reciprocal. And also don't open up your body and your bloodstream and your eggs to somebody who's being cool and aloof and distant, because that's mysterious. And maybe you can bring them closer. No, not a good idea. But you know what? Chill. Take a few weeks or so to get to know somebody. The fire symbol is Tinder associated. See, you guys are going to have to bring me up to speed on that because I don't know. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? But anything relationship-wise, while I drink my tequila, who knows what my answer will be. I'm into the science of love, the biological, sociological, and psychological. Although the only question most people ask me about is the sociological. Okay, any more questions? I wanted to put one on the screen because I can do it. I see what I'm doing over here on StreamYard. I didn't even have all my stuff going. All right. That's all I got. Let's see, what banners have I made for myself? Oh, I made one for my radio show, but let me go back to your comments so I can read some. Any more questions up there on Instagram? Any relationship dating questions? Do you tell your current mate who your backup mate is? Only if you're trying to get them to increase their mate guarding behaviors. Oh, that's the other thing. Let me put this question up in there because I love it so much. So here's the thing. We all also practice mate guarding, right? Meaning that if your husband is at work and there's a new hot woman at the office, you're going to just think of an excuse to stop by, bring him lunch, and you're going to look really good when you do. Just to sort of like, you know that expression, peeing on your fire hydrant. Sometimes mate guarding gone awry is controlling. When guys get super controlling, who are you going to be with? What are you doing? And they get almost stalkerish, showing up at your work and all that. That's not good. Someone says, never go to bed angry. That's bull. What do you think? I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Don't let me forget that one. Okay. That's a good one. But you don't want your mate to feel completely insecure. You don't want to taunt them with your potential backup mates. That's not fair. Okay, the question, never go to bed angry, is bullshit. It's bullshit. Because the truth is, if it's late and everybody's overtired and maybe they've consumed alcohol, is not the time to hash something out. The time to do it is over breakfast after a good night's sleep, right? So go to bed angry. It's okay. Mike says, I've dated 1 year. When do I ask about their finances, credit score? Oh, you mean you haven't done a private search online to figure out all that stuff? Well, hopefully you can tell. I'm going to put the next one up so I remember to take it from Amelia. You can tell somebody's psychology of money if you've been with them for a year. Are they offering to pick up the check? Are they splurging on stupid stuff when you know they can't afford it? Like, there's a lot of stuff you can see in behaviors. But I think credit score is something to brag about early on in dating. Mine's 819, by the way. Just saying. 819. Yeah. Also, at my age, we like to brag that we have health insurance for spouses as well. It's, something to throw out there. Okay, question from Amelia. Do you think that micro-cheating will become more prevalent during pandemic, not just because of boredom, but also because of so much uncertainty? Yes, because, well, first of all, pandemic is a make or break time for relationships. Some people are learning that their spouse, that they made the best decision in the world in choosing their partner. And so they are literally grateful to see how cool they are under stress, how supportive they are, how it's all working great, right? Then there are other people who maybe it was a little bad to begin with, but now it's really bad. And so, yeah, they're using technology as a way. Hello, Cam from Eastern Iowa. And so now they're using technology to kind of micro cheat and mate shop. Really, that's what's happening. Okay, so Rodney says that his wife will stay up all night worrying if things aren't resolved. It's an OCD thing, but it's so hard to resolve when you're so tired. I'm a morning person, so if someone tried to keep me up fighting and arguing, it would kill me. What I would do, though, Rodney, is say, I love you and I want to have this conversation at breakfast. Can I just cuddle you all night and we'll figure out the problem in the morning? So then she feels secure, right? You give her some love. Sightseer, you missed the micro-cheating. I started the show off with micro-cheating. Micro-cheating is having a bunch of backup mates. You're not really violating any boundaries, but you're having chit-chats with them and private message on social media, etc. Any other questions? Oh, this is an excellent question. Sightseer, you got some good ones today. Why do some women say being honest is rude? For example, saying they are sensitive and vulnerable. Well, let's be clear. It's all in the eye of the beholder. She might appear too sensitive and too vulnerable. When I hear people say, you've overthought that, or that reaction is uncalled for, what I hear is somebody saying, I don't want to know you and your feelings and how you think, right? So if you think someone's being sensitive and vulnerable, I would hope you would wrap your arms around that person and say, wow, this brought up something for you. Something I said really had an impact on you. Let's talk about what you're feeling. And if you talk about what they're feeling and let them explain it, then you'll get to know them better. So, yeah. If you tell somebody they're being too sensitive or too vulnerable, that's like saying, do you have your period? You're crying too much. Someone says, Renee says, I've always been happy being single and independent, but lately so annoyed with social media posts on my husband this, my husband that. Why am I so jealous? Well, Renee, I'm in your club, girlfriend. I see those posts and I also have the green monster of envy, not because I actually in real life want to have a husband stuck in four walls with me to fight with and plan with, but because social media makes life look so perfect. And in general, often when people are putting how their perfection out there, it's because they just want you to believe it's so perfect, not that it is for them. So the truth is, right now in America, we have more unmarried adults than married adults for the very first time in history. And so remember, we also come from an era back behind us where someone invented this traditional nuclear family. And in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, people rushed to the altar to get married. So we sort of have this legacy of what society says we're supposed to be, but yet we're at a time of great freedom where we can do whatever we want. However, even if we made the decision to be single, and I hope you have lots of social support and close bonding, wonderful friendships or kids or whatever in your life, but just because we've made that decision not to have a primary romantic relationship doesn't mean that there won't be days where you're like, Like, for instance, I'm trying to apply for a new mortgage right now. If I hear one more mortgage banker say to me, you need to have a husband on your tax return, it'll look so much better. It's like so sexist. They'll just say that. It's amazing. By the way, if anybody knows any woman-owned mortgage bank or mortgage broker, let me know. Let me know. I need a woman. Who else we got? Any more questions? Oh, I love this one. It's a good one. Let's see if I can get it up. It's Kareem. Kareem has good questions. Nope. I think an affluence has increased, marriage has suffered. Well, you could say the other way around. Women don't have to suffer in marriages because we have more economic affluence. Yeah, you could say it that way. Okay, where'd Kareem's question go? There it is. What do you think of married couples who live in separate homes? I actually have a friend who lives miles and miles away from her husband. And you know what? To each his own. Whatever works for them. There's no one right way to be a human. You will never hear me say, you have to do this. You should do this. I might say something like, well, if you do this, the consequences could be, all right? So I think there are plenty of people who are happily undivorced, for instance. They don't divorce because they don't want to split up the assets, but they live in separate houses. There are other people who get married and they're in other cities and they can't leave their jobs or their family or their grandkids or whatever. So why do some men after about 6 months change? They become Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Okay, when this happens. Okay, well, you know, as Chris Rock used to say, ladies, during the first 6 months, you're not actually dating your prospective boyfriend. You're dating his representative. Okay, it's just his agent. And then in 6 months, he'll be himself. The truth is that's why you need to take time courting so you can really get to know somebody, their tender side. And all the first few dates are an Academy Award-winning performance by both you and him, okay? That's all it is. You're just pretending to be the person you wish you were. And how long you hold it up just means you can fake it for longer. I like to get real. Renee, you're welcome. Do you think it's cruel to leave your husband because he doesn't work? I'm sorry if this was you that it happened to. I will say this. Women and men make choices with their mating strategy across a lifespan, and some of the choices they make can be perceived by society as pretty darn cold. Women are wired to go for resources when they're looking for a man. On the flip side, we don't need you to be tall, have hair, or gorgeous if you have a nice fat wallet. Just saying. We get the pressure for all the other stuff. So cruel. Yeah, if you're on the receiving side of it, it can be very, very hurtful. Survival strategy for a woman with kids? Sometimes, yeah. These are difficult, difficult questions. Is there a difference between Maya? I don't know how to say it, Dr. Maya. Is there a difference between being honest and being transparent? Well, I think the person you need to be honest with first and foremost is yourself. And if you're honest with yourself, including honest about your flaws and the areas you need to improve on, then you'll be able to communicate that better with somebody. And so I think, yeah, honesty and transparency are pretty much the same thing. The real question is, when do you feel safe enough into a relationship to disclose everything, right? And I say not until you really trust someone, until you're sure that it's okay to put your heart in their hands. On that note, my lamb is ready. And I could smell my potatoes boiling. I've got to go mash them. The salad's already ready. So enjoy your dinner. Lovely to see everybody. Next Wednesday, will I be here? Maybe. I'm going to go up to Oregon, and I don't know which day I'm driving back, Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to stop and visit my daughter in San Francisco on the way back, on the way up, maybe not the way back. Anyway, so I should be here. So Wednesday at 6. I'm always here for a live stream. Follow me on social media. Please refer me to your friends. You know, it's driving me crazy because on Instagram, I hate the whole, like, how many followers do you have? But I do work for a media company and they need you to be, what's the word? Verified. And you can't get verified on Instagram until you have 10,000 followers. And I've got like just a shade under 8. So if everybody would be so kind, Instagrammers, you hearing me, to just refer me to 2 friends, that would be really nice. I would like that. Thank you. Anyway, good to see you all. See you next Wednesday. And on my show, the Dr. Wendy Walsh Show on KFI AM 640 every, when is it? Sunday from 4 to 6. Although I'm off the air this Sunday because I'll be in Oregon. But next week. All right. Bye, y'all.